Happy Friday, Bethel. Hey, I just wanted to bring a little bit of a Friday encouragement to you. I'm a little bit of a different location today. Hopefully the sound is okay. I wanted to come to you today from what may be one of your favorite rooms in my house, and you don't even realize it. Most of you have never seen this room, and if you did, it was filled with stuff when we were moving in. But this is where I do my coffee roasting. And you can see I've got a roast going right now. This is my roaster, and I wanted to talk with you a little bit about coffee beans. And I shared an illustration like this with the youth a couple months ago, and Deb had asked me about it, and I had thrown it away, but it really got me thinking a little more about what we're dealing with today in the current environment that we're in. You know, coffee doesn't just come out of the fields the way that you get it at the grocery store. Actually, it starts out as a cherry of fruit off the tree, and maybe right about here I'll have a picture of some of the cherry, a coffee cherry. Well, when it's picked in the fields, it's processed right there. The pulp is removed from the outside. It's dried before it's shipped to the United States or wherever it's going. And then, when it gets here, it's in another form. And I've got some video here. There's some green beans here. This is green. This is how it comes to us here in the United States. Now, this isn't quite ready to drink yet. It wouldn't taste very good. So then, after I roast it, this is a roast. Now, these are the exact same beans. So this is just roasted. This is unroasted. And you can see that as it's roasted, not only does it get darker, the color changes, but it expands and it loses moisture. It goes through some thermal changes. But that's still not ready to drink coffee. As a matter of fact, if you tried to put this into a coffee maker, it certainly wouldn't taste very good. The green beans wouldn't taste. You couldn't even run them through a grinder. It could actually damage your grinder. Even if you put the roasted beans into a coffee maker, that's still not going to taste very good. It might come out as slightly brown water, which for some of you, maybe that's the way you prefer to drink coffee, but not for me. It's still not ready. There's another process that this bean has to go through, and that's the grinding process, before it can be put into a coffee maker to be made into that delicious nectar that God has intended for us. Well, these coffee beans got me thinking about our own lives. And just as with each step, those coffee beans aren't ready to be consumed. They're not yet ready for what I believe God intended that coffee cherry to become, the drink for my morning. It's got to go through each of those steps. And each of those steps actually is if a coffee bean had feelings, it would be painful. Very similar to Proverbs 27, verse 17, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Sharpening iron, again, if steel, if knives had feelings, it wouldn't be a pleasant process, because it would be cutting down the edges, removing material, taking away some of what makes it dull, and sharpening that. These coffee beans go through the same kind of thing. It goes through heat. And I'm going to try to show you a little bit of video here. There's the coffee beans now, and you can kind of see back in there, there's some heat going on. And so coffee beans, to be ready to be consumed, have to go through that heat. As it goes through that heat, it goes through a couple different things. For those of us that roast coffee, you first get to first crack. First crack is when the coffee bean begins to expand. It begins to lose some of that moisture. First crack sounds something like popcorn. And you can just listen for that. And once first crack is over, some people would consume that coffee. It's probably still a little bit light for my taste. What I'm looking for is what's called second crack. And it expands a little bit further. And at second crack, it sounds a little bit more like Rice Krispies popping. But little pieces, little shards are coming off of the coffee bean. And it's just going through that process. But then even after it cools and after it degasses for a time, I still put it into the grinder. And that grinding process takes it down to the size that it needs to be consumed as coffee. Can I just encourage you? You may be looking at this current time, you may be looking at what you're going through and wondering why. You may not understand what God has in store for you, but this is part of that process. This is part of your story. You see, when we look back at where we have come from, what we have gone through, all of the things that we go through are part of our story. They're part of what makes us who we are. They may be painful. There may be times that we're put under the heat. We're tumbled through a coffee roaster. We're put under the pressure. We're put into the grinder. But in the end, it becomes something beautiful and aromatic and something very tasty. I don't want to carry that too far, but that's what God is doing in your life right now. That's what God is doing with this current pandemic. God is taking this, He's refining, He's sharpening, He's cutting down those edges. Just like coffee beans, He's even grinding some. And He's preparing you to be what He has intended for you to be. I hope that you can understand that God has a purpose, He has a will for your life. You may be asking why, and God says, I'll show you later. There's just a few things I wanted to remind you of. Again, if you'd like to give to the Christian Children's Home, you can certainly do that through the church website or through the Christian Children's Home website. If you're looking for exactly how to access the Facebook Live feed or the YouTube feed, I'll put that video back onto Facebook again this week and put that at the forefront so that you can see how to go through step by step to get to the feed. Let me encourage you, on YouTube or on Facebook, make sure that you subscribe on YouTube, and then there's a little bell, you can tap that. It'll give you notifications when I submit a new video. And you can also, on Facebook, make sure that you check mark the box that says you want to receive the notifications from the page. And that way you'll get notifications when there is something that comes up and comes live. Again, if there is anything that you need in these coming days, I've talked with the elders, and they're doing a great job of checking in with most of you, and we want to check in with you and see if there's anything we can be praying about for you, praying with you about. And know that even though we're separated by distance, we're all going through this together, and God has something amazing in store for you. I trust that God is working in your lives, and I hope that you're having a great weekend. Again, I don't get to see you on Sunday, but you have to look at my ugly mug on Sunday, so I'll see you on Sunday morning. Have a great weekend.